What's good, y'all? Charles here from the Traders Corner, and we're back. So, like I said, my name is Charles Rice. This is the Traders Corner. If you're new to the channel, please take some time to like and subscribe. It's pretty much going to be everyone, but anyone seeing this video. But regardless, I'm going to say that we have been taking a bit of a hiatus, but we are back. So, I just want to take some time within this first video to kind of talk about, one, what we're going to be doing going forward, two, what we have been doing as a group, what we've been doing, what I've been doing personally, right, like in my own trading, and then, three, what I want to do going forward in my own trading. So just to get started with what we've been doing, so very quickly, in like the simplest terms, we've kind of been keeping everything kind of more so insular and worried about not so much going out there and kind of like just posting content for the sake of posting content, but actually trying to get to the heart of what it was that we were trying to do. And that is guide people who want to start learning how to trade Forex, or honestly just trade anything for real. Like, obviously I'm mainly a Forex trader, but trading is one of those things where the skills are kind of transferable. You might do some things differently when it comes to marking up your chart or what have you, if you're trading stocks or options or anything. But when it comes to like you as a person and like the type of personal and mental skills you need to develop, it's kind of transferable no matter what you trade. So, we've been trying to focus on just helping people kind of become, and guide people to becoming, good, profitable traders, right? And that's not to say that we know everything and we're there already and we're everywhere we want to be. But I've seen a lot of people get started in this. I've seen people come and go, and, I've seen people who've lasted, and I've seen people who've, come and go. And I think there's a reason. There's a lot of underlying qualities within those people who last a while at this game and people who come and go. And, one thing that I've heard always, trying to become a trader and trying to become a Forex trader, is that it's really just about staying in the game, right? So the first big thing, obviously, that being capital preservation to allow you to stay in the game, because, trading is one of those things where if you don't have money, you can't really participate. But it's, other than that, you have to stay in the game mentally as well. And so like, that's really kind of the big thing. And when I mean stay in the game mentally, I mean literally not give up, right? And I've seen people who kind of come in with a lot of enthusiasm for it, say how they want to use it to do X, Y, and Z, and, change this part of their life, and, do this and that, and then kind of just flame out. Where others, they come in and it's kind of the same thing, but it's still like, they're still to this day, keeping up with me, talking to me about what it is that they're doing. And, a good example of that is honestly Daniel. He was somebody who came in with kind of all of this excitement. And even if things might have changed how he was going about it, he's never lost that zeal or that like desire to continue to grow, in trading and in like kind of just financial markets in general. So like, those are kind of people that you run into. Obviously me making this video right now, I put myself in that group with Daniel as well, as somebody who's kind of just still here. I don't think I'm anywhere where I want to be. I think trading is one of those things where you'll never completely be there, but I could definitely be way closer than I am now. I have some problems I need to work out within my own trading, not just my own personal, like the mental side of my personal trading, but also honestly just my strategy. But yeah, but still, obviously I'm still here, that's why I'm making this video. And so I think that in and of itself is a victory, right? I've made more money than I've lost. So I think, again, that's another small win right there. Obviously I'm not out here, trading a bunch of money for a bunch of people and like making 20% a month or 30% a month, but it's coming along, right? And I think that's kind of the big thing that I try to get across to people when, people who know that that I do this on the side, um, that tell me they want to get into it, is like, people are going to tell you, come learn from me. I'll give you a strategy. And with that strategy, you'll be trading profitably within 2 weeks. And while that might be the case, they might give you a profitable strategy. I'm almost sure that you're going to mess that up somehow. Literally, just because this is a game that takes time. This isn't something where you can plug and play and expect to be doing the same thing that people who go to school for years and then go out into the market and get their teeth kicked in by the market for years and learn from other people for years. You can't expect to just come into that game and be given something and just plug and play and expect to be wildly successful other people. You might be a different case, you might be a special case where you just get it, but the vast majority of us, even if we are giving a strategy where it's just like, do this, then do that, then do this, then do that, which wasn't the case for me, but I know it's the case for other people who might come into trading nowadays, especially with some of the courses that are out there. But even if you're given that course, that type of course where it's just do this, do that, and you don't even really have to think about it, you're going to think about it. The minute you put your own money on the line and you start putting more money on the line, you are going to think about it. It's inevitable. And you thinking about it, when you don't have that experience, it's harder to not make those simple mistakes that we can't make as traders that inevitably just lead to us blowing up, right? So what are those simple mistakes? Things like over leveraging, things like taking trades that are outside of your strategy. They might look like they're in your strategy, but again, that goes into your mental and what you are, the experience that you have in spotting trades and saying like, no, that's actually not a trade that fits my plan, and I'm probably trying to force it to fit my plan because maybe X, Y, and Z going on in my life. I just had an instant like that personally where, this month where I took a trade where I'm not exactly happy with the trade that I took. I go back and I think about it. I think about why did I take that trade? I'm realizing, okay, I was having my first negative month in a few months. So I was probably trying to trade out of a hole. There it is. I was trying to trade out of the hole. I wasn't trying to let the trades come to me, right? So, I think that right there just goes to show, and like that's kind of the point I'm trying to make, in that it's going to be a journey. No matter how you start, it is going to be a journey. Even if you start 10 steps ahead of most people, it's still going to be a journey, right? And so the whole point of what we were trying to do recently is try to, behind the scenes, anybody that we know who is willing to accept help from us and, wants that help, trying to help make sure that they get started in the right way possible, learning the right things and thinking about things in the right way. So with that, we've had the opportunity to teach a few friends of Daniel's. And that's been very, it's been very enjoyable for me. It's kind of weird to like teach somebody who I don't really know. Technically, I kind of introduced Daniel and Isaiah to Forex, but like I knew them very well. They were going to get introduced to it anyway, just by, a product of them being around me all the time. If I'm doing something all the time and then they're your best friends, like they were in like they are and like they were in college, like they're around me all the time. So they were going to see it eventually and be introduced to it eventually. So, but I think this is kind of a bit of a different case where it's like, I don't really know these people. Yes, obviously Daniel knows them, but like, I don't really know them. And there's a certain amount of trust that they're giving me to kind of help them get started, which I very much enjoy. And like, I hope they feel like I've taken seriously, but that's what we've been doing. Just kind of doing things kind of behind the scenes. Like maybe I'll show them like a trade that I've taken and why I took it, and all that kind of stuff. So it's been good. It's been interesting and something I definitely want to continue to do. But I definitely think I want to, again, like keep it very much small scale right now, like it is, and just kind of make it very personal. But yeah. Now, in terms of me personally, if you follow like anything that we might have done way back in the past, you might know that I'd recently, in the past, I was changing my strategy. I eventually got to a point where I had a strategy that I could test, completely objectively and, you know, it was kind of repeatable and mechanical and still was the way that I wanted to trade. And so I tested that, you know, on seven pairs that I, you know, trade right now. And I've had a few months of profitability. I'm negative this month, full transparency, but I think I'm realizing what the problem is. And I kind of expected this. You know, I'm still not happy that it's happening. You know, obviously, anytime there's money on the line, nobody wants to lose money. But I think it's good that I feel like I realize what the problem is and like how to go about fixing it. You know, how to go about fixing it isn't hard. And what I think that problem is I think I'm just trading way too much, which is to be expected, you know, especially when you start trading a new strategy, you're a little bit excited. You know, you understand the strategy, but you realize after trading a strategy, you know, for a little bit that when you first started, you didn't understand it as well as you thought you did. As with anything, when you first get started with it, you think you really understand it. You know, you might have even taken the time to really try to make sure that you understand it. But with most things in life, you actually have to just get out there and do it, right? And especially with trading, because the live market is often so much different than backtesting. You know, obviously you backtest anyway, just to have that confidence that you're bringing something into the live market where you said, like, even though I know that there's a good chance that the live market is going to be different than what I backtested, I still have, you know, maybe months or years, depending on the time frame you trade, that's going to, you know, how much data you have is going to be, you know, important to you on different, I guess what I'm trying to say is the time frame you trade will decide how much data is important to you when it comes to backtesting, but how much data you have shows that you're profitable and that your strategy is profitable, and that doing, you know, X, Y, and Z when price gets to here, or when this indicator does this or that thing wiggles, it will, you know, more often than not, 40%, 50%, 60%, whatever percent of the time will win me, you know, maybe 1.5%, 1.5 or 2 or 3 times as many times as I lose when I lose. It's a lot easier to feel more comfortable like entering into something as abstract and as changing and as fickle as the financial markets, and especially the Forex market, right? And so like I have that, but you know, like with anything, like I was saying, you don't really understand it until you really start doing it and really just get into it, right? And so I'm realizing that I might be taking too many trades, and at that I might be taking too many valid trades, right? So I think I need to show a little bit more patience in the market. And, you know, I have to find that fine line between showing more patience and trying to tell the market when it can and cannot go, right? Or saying that the market has to go here. So, you know, that's kind of something that I'm working on now in my strategy and in my back testing. And that's kind of what I'm doing is I'm back testing different things to understand, like, okay, when I see X, Y, and Z on X, Y, and Z pair, I should wait for this or not wait for that or blah, 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 you know. And that's another thing too as well. I'm realizing that even though your strategy as a whole can work across many pairs, there are going to be different parts of your strategy, more than likely, that lend itself to different pairs, right? So for me, maybe the USD yen is way better when I take an entry off an ascending channel or a descending channel, as opposed to a bull flag or a bear flag, whereas the pound yen is better off of flags as opposed to channels, you know, that type of thing. And that's something that I'm also trying to realize too. I'm trying to learn right now through my back testing, so I can have a better, you know, more focused approach to trading the pairs that I trade, you know, really getting comfortable with those. So that's kind of another thing that I'm working on personally in my own trading. And then the last thing is just making sure that I'm consistent. You know, recently I just started working a 9-to-5 job. And I like it. I like the job a lot. I'm not here to talk about my job. What I am here to talk about though is how like that job affects my trading and how my trading affects my job. And really what I've seen so far is, you know, I've worked and traded before. I say worked, it was really an internship, but I interned and trade before, you know, where I kind of was in the office from 9 to 5, like a regular job would be. You know, granted, it was only for a few months in the summertime, but still, like, I've worked and traded before. And this is way different, you know, when I was going into the office, there was kind of that separation between, like, my trading area and, like, my work area. Now, working from home has really blurred that very much so, because, like, I trade on the same desk that I work at. You know, like I think that just makes sense. Like I don't use my work computer to trade. I have two different computers, but like when I'm trading, when I'm trading in the market, when I'm trading in the morning, or I'm doing my forecasting in the morning, or back testing, what have you, I just have my, my personal computer on my work desk. When it's time for me to take on my work laptop, I just move my personal computer and I just plop my work laptop on my, my work desk. And it's hard to keep that separation. So I think that's kind of lended itself to my over trading, because it's harder for me to not be at the chart and try to take every single opportunity, every single wiggle in the market. And then there's also the added fact of, I think I'm trying to force things, to try to prove something. I don't know to who, but I feel like there's always this element of me that I'm trying to prove something, that I know what I'm doing, within the financial markets and within, trading Forex. Maybe it has something to do with this. Maybe it has something to do with making these videos. But regardless, it's something that I need to work on and understand that, like, I have nothing to prove to anybody. As long as my trading works for me and I'm profitable at the end of the day and I'm taking what I'm comfortable with as good trades and good setups, and that's all that matters. So that's kind of where I'm at personally, and kind of where I want to go as well. And also where, the Trader's Corner has been these past few months, and kind of where we want to go. Kind of continue to just kind of like help the people that we might come in contact with, anybody, in any way we can, whether that's literally just pointing them in the direction of a course that we think they might like, based on our conversation with them and like, how they want trading to fit their life. So like, I remember one of DeHart's friends, I think that was the best help I gave him, was helping him understand that, like, while you don't have to trade the exact way that I trade, a style like mine, where it's kind of, you focus on bigger swings in the market as opposed to more intraday moves, within the market, might be better for him and the way that he wants to set up his own life, because of things that he wants to do in his life and different things like that. And, maybe helping another kid, one of DeHart's other friends, understand that, like, oh, maybe you want to use indicators and other, that type of thing. Like, that's kind of where we want to go right now. And like, if anybody out there would like any help with that, we're more than willing. We're not saying that we're going to teach you and then in 2 weeks you're going to be profitable and within the market. But what we can do is help guide you in any way, shape that, you want, and maybe you want to just use this as like an introduction to what Forex even is. And like, we literally just talked to you about candlesticks and what a candlestick is and what a pip is and what a trend line is and what a support and resistance line is. And then after that, you go out and buy your own course, and now you feel comfortable like using that course, and you feel like it kind of puts you a step ahead because you took that time to kind of use a little bit of free information. There's a lot of free information out there on the internet. Obviously, we're not the be all and end all when it comes to free information when it comes to Forex. There's a lot of free information on YouTube, but for some reason you feel like you could, you want us, or you feel like you could trust us to help you, then we feel more than willing to do that as well. That's kind of where the Trader's Corner, is trying to go with these next, few months and next year or so. So yeah, other than that, I'm just going to be starting to do more videos where I kind of just talk about what I'm doing, day in, day out, trading around a 9-to-5 job, trading around a 9-to-5 job while working at home, and that type of thing. And also just taking behind the scenes of what I do to kind of get better at my trading and improve my strategy, and honestly also the trades that I take. Obviously I'm not just going to throw them up before I take them. This isn't a signal service, and I never want it to be that. Please don't misunderstand. Like, I'm not sitting up here trying to say you have to trade the way that I trade because I know something and you don't. You might be a fucking 70%, 80% trader who makes 30% every time he places a trade. Cool. But all I'm trying to do is show, hey, this is real. Real people can make real money in the market. It's not just, one of these fake things where you don't really know. Like, you want to believe people, but you don't really know. And, that's kind of the point of everything that I'm going to be doing, going forward. Way more vlog style, rough, really just like I'm doing right now, talking at the camera, showing you my work, showing you my daily, weekly, monthly endeavors to try to grow and become a better trader, grow in my trading, and, help trading grow my own personal life and personal goals. So I hope you enjoy it. And, stick around. So this morning, I decided to do some analysis before going into a review of a mistake that I made in the trading week on a trade that I was in, and then also just reviewing another trade that I took as well that I took for a loss. But as you can see here, I'm just doing some analysis and then I go into the review, which I show you next. So I hope you enjoy that. So today I got a quick trade review on break even and a loss. Made a mistake on one, traded the other one the way I should have, but it has me reevaluating certain parts of my plan. Not so much because I took a loss, but really just I'm doing more back testing, and I've been seeing a lot more of this type of entry through this, focused back testing that I've been doing. So it's got that has me rethinking my plan a bit. But regardless, for right now, the big focus for this video is going to be the mistake I made, which is going to be on GBP This is a trade for break even. Regardless, I still made a mistake. So I'm pretty sure I entered here for about 30 pips. As you can see, we go to the daily, we have a nice push down flag. Overall, we're in a larger expanding, looking to come lower. 4 hour, same thing, 1 hour, right? And after we get the third touch of this flag up here, we push down, get a flag, looking for a third touch up here, but don't get it, get a push down, 3-touch flag, as you can see in here, 1, 2, 3, which is where I entered. Drop, here's 1%, here it is. So I'm gonna sleep at this time, right, as we come back up here, because normally I would have probably moved to 1%, moved to break even already, which I really shouldn't do because of the way that this setup is set up. But I probably, judging based on what I did, making a mistake wise with this trade, I definitely would have moved to 1% already, but was asleep at this time, so then it dropped. This is where I got like antsy and worried. I was like, I think it's gonna pull back up and take me out for a loss. Try to tag this third touch or this, double top up here. I don't know why I got worried. I think it was, maybe I took a couple. I did take a couple losses this month. I think I was trying to get back profit. I was trying to get back profitable and not just letting the profitable trades come to me. Maybe I was looking at other people's trading too much, whatever. I'm going to have to evaluate that regardless. I got scared. That's full disclosure. I got scared of taking a loss. Because of it, I moved to break even. And then when this came back up, this tagged me out because of the spread. I'm pretty sure maybe my entry was like a little bit lower. Either way, I got tagged back out right here. And as you see, we drop and get to 3%. Would have probably locked in about 1.5, maybe 2. Likely because of how close we were and how much room we had. Right? Wouldn't have wanted to choke it, so probably would have gone 1.5 instead of 2. And then would have pulled back up and got tagged out. But regardless, even though it's just a difference between a break even and 1.5, this 1.5s can add up. They can, be what pushes you over that line into profitability, because you're not going to catch, even though with my strategy, I'm prone to catch some big moves where maybe I'll make 5-6%. I've seen my back testing on multiple different pairs that's possible. That's not, common, likely. And, again, my back testing shows me this. More common are like the 1%, the 2%, mostly like the 2% and the 1.5%, and that's kind of what makes it profitable. I'm kind of always winning more than I lose. The most common one, like my average risk to reward, like my average win is about 2 point something percent, with some 1.5% sprinkled in, 1% sprinkled in, 3% sprinkled in. But across the board on all the 7 pairs that I trade, My average is about 2 to 2 point something percent. It's like, I think the highest is like about 2.6, 2.7%. Um, unlike the pairs that really just move. So like the yen pairs really just move. Whereas, my average on the USD pairs are a little bit lower. But yeah, but like I said, those 1.5%, 1%, 2%, those can be what puts you over the line into profitability. So, I need to evaluate that management that I did and make sure that I don't make that mistake a second time. And Aussie USD, this is one where I took a loss, and I take it again as of now. But again, I am at this point, full disclosure, reevaluating the more valid trades that I take, because this is definitely way more valid. I'm okay with it because we you can see that we come up 1, 2, 3, right? And this is kind of messy to look at right now. Delete this one as well, just for visualization's sake. But we know it's there. You see 1, 2, 3. All right, we're up at this larger double top as well. When we got up there to this 1, 2, 3, pushed down, scooped around for another double top, and then what do? How do we get there? In the more of an ascending, right? Because we even had that trade I took early. I think it was last week. Yeah, no, earlier this week. The trade I took earlier this week, where I also took a loss where we came down, for more of this type of extending out, but then push down again. And what do we do again? We hover along that trend line, right? And because we got that double top after a larger, double top, and on top of that, a nice 1, 2, 3, I'm willing to enter that. My strategy says I can enter that as well. It's more valid because what will be more high probability is if we get a third touch and then we get the push down, or if we're at the third touch and a push down and tight correction, or maybe just the third touch up here. But it's more valid, but I can still enter it. Again, I'm reevaluating the more valid trades that I'm taking. Right, and we just push down. Right, never get to 1% or even close. We got to about 6. Start chopping around, and we just push back up. I'm pretty sure this is where we are now. So at this point, if you put this out here, this like so, pull this back. What are we doing right now? You can pull this back as well. What we're doing right now, we can push up, right? We're forming a larger flag to possibly push to the upside. We could, we don't have to, but to possibly push to the upside. Point, looking for us to pull back up to this double top, get a push down, or tight correction to look into the downside, or we could, never really give me that entry, kind of just push above it, form a tight correction, right? At that point, I reevaluate at this double top, or we could, push out, get a third touch, push down, get a tight correction. Either way, what I'm really looking at is to see if we can come lower and get a double bottom in here, or a third touch of this, possibly larger bull flag to maybe push higher. That's also a possibility as well. But again, it doesn't have to happen right now. That can happen next week or the week after. So, like I was saying, that push up, double top, or push up, third touch, and then a push down are a possibility. But again, the fact that I'm looking at a push up and then possibly a larger flag, that's why I want to wait for a push down and a tight correction, regardless of if I get a third touch up at that ascending. So hope you enjoyed the video.